So, what is an infinitive in Spanish? Well, if we have a look at infinitives in English, they're the base verb that you'll find in a dictionary. So if you're looking something up, that will be the one that you're looking for before you start changing it. So in English, we have verbs that are to run, to eat, to play, and these are base verbs before changing it into different people, which I'll give an example for in a minute. So let's have a look. In English, you wouldn't say I to eat or you to run. What we have to do in English is remove the to, and then we're left with I eat and you run. Okay, so it's that base verb. But in the dictionary, you wouldn't look up the word to. You're looking up the word run or eat. And then in the dictionary, it'll either tell you it's a verb, which lots of the learner dictionaries do, or it'll have a VB or a VT after it to tell you that's the verb. All right. So, for example, if you have a look at the word watch, that could be a verb or it could be a noun. So it's making sure that you've got the right word when you're looking for the verb. So, los infinitivos en español, exactly the same sort of thing. Again, it's that base verb we're looking in the dictionary. And we have three sorts of verbs, three categories. So we have cantar, hablar, visitar, which are verbs that end in AR. We have comer, beber, leer, which are verbs that end in ER. And we've got vivir, decidir, and subir, which are verbs that end in IR. So these are examples of those three categories. In Spanish, verbs either end in AR, ER, or IR. So it's a bit like in English where we have to eat, to run, to dance. In Spanish, we don't have that to at the beginning. Instead of having that, we have them ending in AR, ER, and IR. So, for example, cantar is to sing in English. Comer is an AR verb, to eat. Vivir, IR verb, to live. Okay, so they're all infinitives. But like in English, where you want to say I to eat, in Spanish you can't put yo comer, which would mean I to eat. I put the yo in brackets because in Spanish we don't often use those pronouns, the personal pronouns or subject pronouns, like I or you or to or he, she, and it, or we or they. We just change the verb at the end. But just for an example here to give an equivalent in English, we've got that yo there. So we wouldn't say I to eat. We need to change that verb. As in English, we need to take the to out. In Spanish, you have to do slightly different things, which if you have a look at one of my other videos on the present tense, for example, you can find out. But for this video, we're just looking at how infinitives work. So how do we use infinitives? Well, we use them when we're not needing to conjugate, i.e. change for a particular person. So, for example, in English, we've got I to eat. We can't write that. We have to remove the to, I eat. So that's quite straightforward. However, if we got a verb like live, he to live, we change it to he lives. So we don't just take the to out, we also have to put an S on the end of live. There are some irregular verbs in English as well, and they are in Spanish, but just to give another example how we change it, to be, we don't say I to be, we change the verb completely to the word I am, which again in Spanish is very similar. We have those big changes. Okay, so for example, comer, if we want to use the present tense, we don't say yo comer, again, I to eat. We have to change it, and again, I put yo in brackets because we don't always use those then, but we change the comer to como in the present tense to give I eat. So it's a little bit like in English where we change things. But how do we use the infinitive? So we use it after verbs are already conjugated. Like in these examples, I like is already changed for the I form. If you had she likes, we'd have an S on the end, so it'd be slightly different from the infinitive. So we've got I like to eat. So to eat is the infinitive. I like to play. To play is the infinitive. We like to chat. To chat is the infinitive in English. They love to cook. To cook is the infinitive. I want to visit. To visit is the infinitive. So it's using those infinitives after other verbs are already changed. So in Spanish, it's exactly the same. So I've highlighted in bold the equivalents of the ones above. So me gusta comer, I like to eat. Me gusta jugar, I like to play. Nos gusta charlar, we like to chat. Les encanta cocinar, they love to cook. Quiero visitar, I want to visit. Okay, so can you see that where we've got all those verbs, we've got a range of AR, ER, and IR verbs. What I didn't say before is that actually the majority of verbs in Spanish are AR verbs. So if you're not sure that what you're looking for there, I'd look for an AR verb, although there are a few AER and IR ones. So, práctica. So, busca los verbos en español en el infinitivo en un diccionario. So look for the following verbs in the infinitive form in a dictionary. So I've given you some AR ones, some ER ones, and some IR ones to have a look up. Okay. Now, where there's a star, it's because they are irregular verbs, and quite often they don't follow the normal rules when you change them into different tenses. But for the infinitive form, they are regular. Okay. So pause the video now, use a dictionary, look them up, and then we'll go over the answers in a minute. Okay, so we've got the answers here. As I said, the first section are AR verbs. We've got to travel, viajar, to find, encontrar, to dance, bailar, to buy, comprar, to do, hacer, and also means to make. To run, as in the activity. I put activity because we could run a store, for example, or run a business. But in this one, I want the activity of running, as in going for a run. So we've got correr. To understand, there are two different ones, entender or comprender. You might have had either of those. And the verb to have, tener, which again is sometimes irregular. And then we've got IR verbs to go, which is just the ir. Okay, that means to go, that little ending already there. To write, escribir, to share, compartir, and to open, abrir. Okay, so those are all infinitives. So when you're using infinitive, or when you're looking for an infinitive, make sure you're looking for AR, ER, and IR verbs, and what it says in the dictionary, whether it says verb, VB, or VT. Make sure you've found the verb and not a noun, like I gave you the example of watch, for example. And then when you're using it in a sentence, if you think about how it is in English, see whether that's how it would work in Spanish. So when we had I like to dance, we could say I like dancing, but we can say I like to dance, and we use that dance in the infinitive form because like is already changed. There are lots of other examples, so if you go onto my other videos and have a look through those, in all the tenses, for example, you can do that. But this is to give you that base verb, so when you do start making tenses, you'll know what you're looking for to start with. Okay, hope that helps.